All right, so let's dive into to Agile and DevOps. And um, after, well, at this point in time, with the 2015 Chaos Report, that was over a decade of Agile adoption. And the Standish Group did a study, and they reported in their 2015 study that projects using Agile did succeed on average at a rate 3 times better than waterfall projects. So, yay, awesome. This sounds like some great progress, and it is, but it's not the whole story. Um, and they've done some good work, and they've also done a follow-up addition to the study for 2020, which has an interesting finding, which I'll share a little bit later on in the webinar. So Agile projects, although with the progress, were still only deemed successful 39% of the time across all project sizes. And if we look at the segment of small projects, okay, it does jump up to 58%. But in the small projects, waterfall even succeeds 44% of the time. Experience tells us that the smaller the project, the easier it is to succeed in the first place, even if you don't even have a clear methodology. Smaller projects are easier. Large projects are harder, a lot more risky. So a logical question is, and we should ask, why don't we just do small projects then? Why don't we refuse to do big projects? And that's a good question, to ponder, a little bit philosophical, and how did we get into this big project in the first place, if that's the situation you're in. But overall, our industry has a poor track record. And so we need to understand how to spot a project that is failing and spot it right away so that we can stop it, so we can fix it, so we can course correct it. And so we see that while Agile is better for projects, it still only succeeds around 25% of the time for medium or for the larger projects. Okay. So the definition of success, by the way, in the Standish Group's report, is a combination of 3 factors: on time, on budget, and on target. And it's really important to add the on target, because it means it accomplished the objectives that it was set out to do. It actually met the business outcomes that were invested in. So what does a failing project look like? It's actually pretty simple to see. It's late, it's over budget, and the software is just not right. However you want to frame it, it's slow, it's buggy, it doesn't work the way that it was requested. It's not actually getting the outcome that you wanted it to get. And by the way, even if every feature that was envisioned works the way that the particular feature was designed to work, if the outcome isn't there, the project's not a success. Because, as we'll see later, the list of features is only a hypothesis for how we might come to an outcome, and we might not be right. Now, these three criteria are pretty far-reaching, and nobody really can afford to wait until the full project schedule has elapsed before knowing if the project is going to be late or over budget. We need to put the project on a path for success right away and keep it there. And Agile and DevOps do kind of offer some improvements, and we want to be able to capture those, but also see what Agile and DevOps cannot do. Now, let's review what the manifesto for Agile software development actually is. It was published in 2001 with a simple website that's still up, agilemanifesto.org. And if your group is implementing Agile, then they should definitely be trained and know what's on this website. It's a set of 4 value statements and 12 principles. And a simple conversation with a lot of managers in the industry who are overseeing software groups and use Agile ends up revealing a very shallow and partial implementation of the values and principles, regardless of what flavor of process, whether Scrum or extreme programming or elements of Kanban. The values and principles are what define Agile. Just a suggestion, as an exercise, ask one of your peers in the industry, what part of Agile have you implemented so far? And you're probably going to hear things like, we use iterations or sprints, we use retrospectives, we prioritize a backlog, and so forth. But what you'll find is it's more rare, in other words, less than 50%, that you see all of the Agile values and principles fully implemented. And that's a huge missed opportunity for a methodology which is proven to improve the success rates. It alone doesn't guarantee success for your project, but you see in the data, okay, it's an improvement. But in order to capture even that improvement, you actually have to use it fully, as opposed to just, maybe bundle your rhythm of delivery into 2 or 3 weeks, label it a sprint, and say that you are implementing the 4 Agile values and the 12 principles. And so let's be reminded of what Agile is. Valuing individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. That 4th one, that's really hard for a lot of people because management wants to see a plan, wants to approve a plan, and outside parties want to know how much is being invested and what they're going to get. And instead, if we say we're choosing Agile, well, guess what? We're intentionally saying, if we learn something new, we are going to respond to what we learn, and we're going to change something when we learn it. And guess what? That plan is going to change.